Hey everyone, it's Chris from AWeber, and I'm going to show you how to add an AWeber sign-up form to a website that you make with Lovable. Lovable is an AI website and app building tool that is one of my favorite ways to build simple websites and prototype nowadays. And it's really easy to get AWeber forms onto your Lovable sites. So there are a couple ways you can do this. The first is very straightforward. If I've made a web form in AWeber, I can just go to the Publish Form button, click in to copy this form snippet, and now I'm going to go back to Lovable. Now I'm just going to ask Lovable to add that form to my site. So I'm just going to say add my AWeber sign-up form to my website below my social buttons, paste in that code I copied, now I'll hit enter. Now, the first time I asked, it told me it had added the form, but I couldn't see it. So this is just a good lesson for when you're working with AI tools. I just told it that I didn't see the form to make sure that you add the snippet exactly. And then it did. And now you can see my sign up form is right here and available to use on my Lovable site. Now I'm going to try a little bit more futuristic a way to add a form. And I'm going to let Lovable have some more control over the design and setup of the form. Now to do this, I'm going to grab a knowledge base article from AWeber's knowledge base that talks about what it takes to make a form that submits well to AWeber. I'm going to give Lovable direction to use that knowledge base article to help create a form that submits correctly to AWeber, but uses whatever markup fits best into this Lovable site. So I'm saying add a sign-up form for my AWeber list to my website. Follow the directions on, and then I include the link to that knowledge base article. For guidance on how an AWeber web form needs to be, I said submitted, but this should say structured. I want to capture a first name and an email address. I'm telling them the fields I want. And for your AWeber form markup to work, you need to provide it the list ID for the list that you want to submit the subscriber to when they hit sign up. And to find that, you go into AWeber. In list settings, you'll see your unique list ID on your basic settings. You can grab that for any of your lists. And I'm telling Lovable my list ID to include in the form markup is that value. Now let's submit it. All right, cool. So it put together a custom form and added it to my website. But here's the really cool thing about doing something like this. Now you can ask for some really incredible form behaviors just conversationally. So I'm going to ask it to turn this form into a slide-in form. And I'm saying, make the form a slide-in that slides in from the top right 3 seconds after the page loads. Let's see if it works. Well, would you look at that? My sign-up form now slides in from the top right a few seconds after the page loads. And all of that happened conversationally. One really neat thing about this is I might want to change aspects of the form design. I probably do. Like I want to left align the labels on the form inputs. I can do all of that conversationally. And by default, without me having to ask it to, it matched the style of my existing website. This is really cool stuff. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to test and see whether this actually submits the subscriber to my AWeber list successfully. So I'm going to put my first name, it's Chris, and I'll input my email, and now I'll hit subscribe. And I am redirected successfully. Now I should probably add a success notification when I get back to my page after submitting, but let's pop over to AWeber and just make sure I was added to the list. Yep, and here you can see, there I am, added to the list from a form that Lovable built for me just based on the AWeber form documentation. Now, you can imagine all sorts of powerful things that you can do this. You could style the form in interesting ways, make it have interesting behavior to only trigger once you've scrolled a certain portion down the page or after a certain amount of time, or even do something like multi-step forms. And I want to encourage you to play with it. Tell me what works. Show off the really wonderful things you build, and I can't wait to see what you do with this.